Welcome back to Central News. The Bay of Plenty Rugby Union was established 100 years ago, and this weekend they are celebrating their centenary with the honouring of 2 life members, and they have also put a dream team together. Mike Rogers tells Central News some of the memorable moments of Bay of Plenty Rugby. Mike, lovely to see you again. Centenary celebrations are this weekend. Tell us, what does it mean to you and the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union?
Yeah, well, it is a huge weekend for us to celebrate 100 years of Bay of Plenty Rugby, and being able to connect with some of our former players. There's going to be a huge number of former players at our centenary lunch on Saturday prior to taking on the mighty Hawke's Bay. So it's going to be a great opportunity for us to relive some of the fantastic moments in Bay of Plenty Rugby over the last 100 years.
And what are some of those fantastic moments of Bay of Plenty Rugby? Yeah,
no, there's been some great highlights really. Certainly the most recent is probably 2004 when we won the Ranfurly Shield against Auckland, the first time the Bay of Plenty's held the Ranfurly Shield, and that's always talked about. 1976, going back a little bit, was when we won the first NPC competition as well, so that's a bit of a highlight for Bay of Plenty players and supporters. And there's also been a number of victories, I guess, against visiting international teams, the likes of Australia. There was a pretty historic win against Australia, and most recently playing against the British and Irish Lions as well in 2005. So a lot of great moments and some pretty good stories to go with them.
Fantastic. And what do you believe makes the rugby union what it is today?
Yeah, I think it's the strength of our community. We have a sort of a saying, Bay Proud, and it's something that we sort of try to live and connect to our community. And I think some of our rural communities make us what we are. We're a bit different. We're not in Auckland or a Canterbury, some of those bigger areas. We rely on our communities and we rely on our smaller rural communities. And I think that's what separates us from some of the other provincial unions in New Zealand. And we're quite unique in the fact that we've got bases in both Tauranga and Rotorua, and strong rugby playing population down in the Eastern Bay around Whakatane and Opotiki as well. So I think that whole geography makes us quite different in the sort of New Zealand landscape.
Yeah, and how can the community feel part of this 100 years of the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union, that they can take that as their own as well?
Yeah, well, we've been working pretty closely with our clubs and schools to get them to connect to our centenary and make them more aware of the last 100 years of Bay of Plenty Rugby, and we've been working through some special presentations to our clubs. And a number of our clubs have sort of gotten behind the centenary and connected to some of their former players and hosted them as well throughout the rugby season. We've just finished our club rugby season on the weekend with Te Puke winning the title, and they were very proud of that, and we sort of used that as an opportunity again to highlight 100 years of Bay of Plenty Rugby. We've also been lucky, the media of like CTV and the Bay of Plenty Times have been fantastic at highlighting some of the players who have been involved in our history, but also some of those fantastic moments as well. So I think hopefully the community is aware of the Bay of Plenty centenary, and they've been able to play a part in it as well.
Fantastic. So how has the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union changed over the 100 years?
Yeah, it's I guess there's been a bit of an urban shift. So historically, Rotorua is probably the stronghold of Bay of Plenty Rugby, and that's where where Bay of Plenty Rugby was sort of first established. And I think given the population swell in the Tauranga Western Bay area, there's been a much stronger emphasis around rugby in the Western Bay as well. And I think a lot of those rural clubs have probably found it a bit more challenging when families are moving towards the urban centre. So that's sort of changed the nature of rugby within the Bay of Plenty area. But outside that, I think there's a number of clubs that are still in existence that started off 100 years ago, and so overall I think it's probably a pretty similar scenario, but just probably a different rugby ball as well.
The upgraded version.
The upgraded version, yeah, the Adidas version.
Now I understand that there is a bit of a dream team put together for this centenary. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, it was something we wanted to highlight, is say, obviously the players are a big part of our history, and we've had 1,159 that are on our jersey, and we put a group of, historians and selectors together to choose a team that they felt represented the best players that have sort of come through the Bay of Plenty region. And so they've sort of pulled a group together, and we're going to announce at our centenary luncheon on Saturday and recognise those players as a dream team of Bay of Plenty Rugby, and I'm sure that'll spark a lot of debate and a lot of discussion amongst the players as we go.
Fantastic. Now what else is going to be happening at this celebrations this Saturday before the Steamers take on the mighty Magpies.
yeah, the Battle of the Bays. So it's we've got a couple of special presentations at the luncheon where we're going to recognise a couple of people who have really contributed to rugby for a long period of time. So I think that'll be a special moment when we present those awards. We've also got Tony Johnson, who's our MC, and he's going to interview a few of our former players as well, and sort of talk about some of those great moments in Bay of Plenty rugby history, and also what it means to them to be part of the Bay of Plenty rugby organisation as well. So I think a lot of talking, a lot of great stories, and hopefully a lot of fun for the former players that are going to be there.
It sounds great for everybody to. Yeah, definitely a reunion for everyone and to swap stories and whatnot. There'll be some long stories into the night, I imagine. Now, 100 years under the belt, what development plans do you see for the future of Bay of Plenty Rugby?
Yeah, I think we want to continue to grow our game. We're close to 9,000 players in the Bay of Plenty region, so we're quite keen to continue to ensure that people participate in our game. We've got a focus on our Steamers being at the top end of competition, so that's a focus for us as well, and hopefully we get opportunities to have some more fantastic moments like hosting an international team and sort of trying to add to the glory of Bay of Plenty's days. So hopefully a lot more opportunities for people to participate, and we stay here for another 100 years.
We'll have to definitely keep an eye on what's coming up in the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union. Thanks, Mike, for coming on the show today and for having TV Central part of the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union for this season.
No problem. Thanks, Katrina.
Celebrations begin this Saturday before the Steamers take to the Rotorua Stadium to play against the Hawke's Bay, who is the true Bay. After the break, Matamata's Got Talent.